ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूषणे श्रीपते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So we're continuing this chapter where the soul in the womb, if it is a pious soul, then it experiences repentance. We're studying how the material body is made of 5 elements that obscures the spiritual nature, which is qualitatively the same as Krishna's, but he's full of knowledge. And the supreme controller remain as the supreme controller, he remains transcendental. His glorious spiritual qualities are never diminished. Therefore, I offer my humble obeisances. Due to forgetting Krishna, I am continually placed under material nature's influence. In this condition, I am forced to endure a hard struggle for existence, birth after birth. Unless the Lord shows me his causeless mercy, I cannot resume my position as his eternal servant. As the super soul, he controls everything, past, present, and future. By his direction, conditioned souls are engaged in material activities, and only by his grace we can get free of the threefold miseries of life. Even as he prayed, the stench of the foul mixture within the womb overcame him. There was nowhere he could turn to escape it. Then his mother swallowed, and the heat of her gastric fires scorched him. He wept bitterly. My Lord, when shall I, the wretched soul, be released from this confinement? Although I am only 10 months old, by your causeless mercy I can remember you. Friend of all souls, I can only express my gratitude by repeatedly praying to you with folded hands. Unlike the lower species of life which act only by instinct, humans can control their senses and understand life's goal. I therefore offer my respects to Lord Krishna, who has blessed me with this human body and by whose grace I have the intelligence to see him, acting both within and outside me. As he prayed, Jiva realized that at least while in the womb he could remember Krishna. That was not guaranteed when he came out. There was every chance he would again become covered by the Lord's illusory energy. Anxiously, he prayed, My Lord, although in a terrible condition, I do not want to take birth, because I fear I will once more forget you and fall into the deep well of material life. Your illusory energy will again force me to accept a false identity and continue in the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, peacefully accepting this situation, I shall deliver myself from the darkness of ignorance by remaining always absorbed in Krishna consciousness. By constantly thinking of Vishnu's lotus feet, I shall be saved from entering womb after womb. Even as Jiva prayed in this way, the wind of parturition, the wind of parturition suddenly propelled him downward, head first. Any comments or questions? Welcome. Hare Krishna. before Devahuti and her maid servants gasped. Any of you would like to gasp at this chapter, at this section? Where do you remember being in the womb? Do you remember this time?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think yeah, I remember one person saying about this so vividly. So wonderful. So vivid is so nice. She was saying that, like, I remember being in the womb, remembering that I did not want to come out. But then she never mentioned that I was praying that I to Krishna. But then the soul, I mean, even after like decades, is able to have this vivid, what do you say, image, not image, remembrance that the soul didn't want to come out and take birth. I was like amazed. And when the person was expressing, I don't think so. The person had read the Srimad Bhagavatam third canto. This is what a pious soul would really experience. But oh my
Mm,
God, even today, this person is like so much into self-realization and very, very focused and nice. That's because they're carrying this, sukriti, very pious soul. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, that here the soul is praying when I'll get out, and then at the same time realizes like, oh no, if I get out, the world will get to me and the illusory energy will get to me. It's like a that's why it's called confinement. Like you want to stop that suffering, but at the same time the pious soul is concerned that, oh my god, once I'm born, then I may forget. It's a
Krishna.
very contradictory thing, right? Like wants to
Yeah,
get out but doesn't want to get out. No, wants to get
exactly.
out but doesn't want to forget Krishna.
Yeah. There are like two incidents which comes to my mind with this. Shh. Okay. First one is Haridas Thakur. Um, was it Haridas? Yeah. He will like find a group of people who will be in the prison and he'll say like he'll just bless them and they'll be like, oh my God, such a pious person like Haridas Thakur has come to stay with us in the prison. We're so blessed, and he'll be chanting and then they'll be like, they'll love his association. After some time, Haridas Thakur is like leaving. They'll release him because they know that there'll be a false accusation on Haridas Thakur, and then the king realizes, and then he's leaving Haridas Thakur. He's go, and then Haridas Thakur is leaving the prison. All these prisoners will say, "You were giving us so much of solace. We had so much of hope. Like a sadhu was there with us, and today you're leaving. What will happen to us? Please give us some blessing." And then he says, I bless you, you just continue like this. And then get a shock. You want us to just be in the prison? And I said, no, when you come out, you'll again fall down into allurements. Here, you can peacefully chant the holy name. When I say remain like this, it means remain in this consciousness and chanting and then perfect your life. And then we had a similar contemporary example of Srila Prabhupada saying that same thing to one of his disciples. His disciple is writing that Prabhupada, while doing Sankirtan, something happened. And then for some incident, the police has caught us and now we are in the prison. And Prabhupada is like writing back and saying, oh, very good. That's a very good situation for you. And then because you can just sit and peacefully now chant and absorb and, just chanting of the holy names. This will be very good. No disturbance. There also you can make some devotees in the prison. Like if there's no escape, right? Or though they have to be here, there only. You just chant and teach. And I just imagine the same kind of a mode, the way a pure devotee sees somebody in the jail, and we will sit and cry there in the jail. But look at them, the way they are saying is like, this is perfect situation. Please chant, chant. And then again, Prabhupada is saying, this perfect situation, no disturbance, no torture, no nothing. Somebody will give you food, you just sit and chant. Of course, the whole situation there will be so much confinement and people go mad, mental health issues and everything. But the way a pure devotee's vision is towards such things, right? Our so-called misery, for them, it's like they can turn that into something so auspicious. And our
So
so-called
true.
auspicious things. Oh, big house, kids, that, this, vehicles, and vacation. All that we think, oh, fantastic, like that. And they'll think, God, this is like so much of
Yeah.
distraction, like that. You will think like that, right?
That's a good point. I like that point about Haridas Thakur. Yeah.
And I'm also wondering, the soul is like such an advanced soul that not only it's repenting and it's praying, but it's also saying, I don't want to come out of this. It could have also prayed, no, saying that I'll come out and I'll not forget you. I'll continue to, be a devotee or something. Just take me out. I'll come out and do. It's like so austere. Like, I don't mind being in this austere condition, but I don't want to come out and fall down. Almost like
Yeah,
our Sukadeva Goswami, right? Sukadeva Goswami himself.
exactly. Yeah, I
Like,
was thinking,
Krishna, unless you
he didn't
pray,
come out.
what is you what you promised me that I'll not fall down. I'm not going to come out. I'm just going to be here. Krishna had to come and tell him, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sukadeva Goswami had the power to stay in. We all don't have the power. We have to come out. Continue reading, Taruri or Rajeshwari. I don't know, whoever likes to read from this. Devahuti and her maidservants gasped, just like us.
Devahuti and her maid sons. Sorry, one second. One second. Devahuti and her maid servants gasped. They had never imagined how much suffering the unborn child experiences. A tear trickling from the corner. Next page, please. Of her eyes. Devahuti whispered, Does he forget you as he feared? Does he forget you as he feared? Kapila replied, The severe pain of birth makes him forget everything. The agony of being forcefully pushed through the narrow birth canal is so severe that the child can barely even breathe. Falling into a pool of blood and urine, he squirms like a worm in stool. He cries helplessly, his superior intelligence lost. I have a question at this point, because
Mm.
see, this remembrance is forgetfulness, remembrance. Everything is given by the super soul, Krishna, right? The soul is trying to remember and saying, I don't want to forget. Yet, just with that small, that birth happening, it's inside the womb. Through the birth canal, it just comes out and then it's out. The birth canal is not like a huge tunnel or like a 1 meter or like 1 kilometer or like, a big, many yojanas. It's not like that. Just inside, and as soon as it comes outside, it forgets just because of that intense pain. But why the super soul in the heart makes the soul to forget? Or like, of course, he has enjoyment propensity and, there's purification. But still, I always, used to wonder at this point why super soul is not, making the soul to remember, because just inside the womb, it was just praying few seconds ago, or whatever,
Mm.
hours or whatever. As soon as it comes out, everything gets covered. This full forgetfulness will come, right? How does it happen?
There are many factors, okay? First of all, when we are, like you were saying about the jail example, when we are in jail, there are not those kind of distractions which are outside the social life and the kids and the car and the home and the rent and the bills and the all those things are not there, right? Similarly, when the material in the material body, when we come out of the confinement of the womb, immediately there is all the first of all there's trauma of birth, as you said, the pain and the agony and the trauma that just kind of, that's our first trauma, right? Birth is the first trauma on our psyche. And all the samskaras, right? Immediately the impression, already in the womb we have impressions. Whatever the mother is doing, especially from 7th month, full consciousness is there. Whatever we hear, whatever is, it's very, very strong. Like Prahlad Maharaj, right? He heard from Narad Muni and his samskaras were strongly impression. So depending also on what the mother does from those times, the easier or the harder it will be for the jiva to keep its original connection, the super soul. Because there's the analogy in Bhagavad Gita about the two birds, right? The Paramatma is the inactive bird, just watching. So the function of Paramatma is not to jump in and interfere. The function of Paramatma is to be there as much as willing we are, right? I mean, even as kids, there is also other austerities, right? So many, we're not understood and this and that. It's all the other traumas. So depending on how crazy or how dysfunctional the parents are. And then also there is the factor that external environment, it does give us a little bit of the, it does fan the Ishvara Bhava in us, massages the ego. Oh, so sweet. See this Kuchi Papa, the small baby, he's so cute. And everybody's attention, no, it goes there. So the baby starts to feel the attention more and more and more. So the center is no more praying and all that. The center becomes the soul itself, right? Hmm. Like that, eventually, all the samskaras, all the experiences, all the external influences affect us. Becomes layers and layers and layers and layers of samskaras that covers covers the mirror of the heart. And then the connection with the Lord, unless it's actively cultivated, developed, nurtured, maintained, it can get faded into the background. But the good thing is it always remains. There's always that layer, that there's always a connection, but the awareness is what fades. So it's not that the Paramatma has turned away his face or something. Paramatma is exactly where and how he was available, but because of our layers and layers of experience, we get covered with material energy. Basically, essentially with sattva, rajas, and tamas, we get covered. And of course, when we grow up, then there is the little bit of, when we are kids, there is all the social pressure, and the parents are teaching you this and that, and study that and study this. And where is the space? In the womb, there's no physical space, but on an emotional, psychological, mental level, there is a space to pray, to go introspect or whatever, even for the pious soul. But even for the pious soul, when it comes out, there is no space sometimes. I mean, as a mother, as a wife, I know in our practical life, sometimes it's hard to find the space, right? To go sit and study peacefully with nobody around. Sometimes we wish, I hope I can just go away somewhere peacefully alone. So, imagine a child. No, but they don't let you even one single minute alone. Always hovering around you and trying to teach you this and that. And how we do with kids. Eat this, eat that, do this. So all these layers of distractions overtake the connection and the mm, remembrance. It's a test.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's very interesting way of understanding. Yeah. It was
That's where the
always
birth.
bothering me. Yeah,
Hmm?
very nice. It's always bothering me. Why it used to happen? Why it happens like this, Very nicely explained. Thank you.
That's why good parenting, and if you have a child that you are able to give it space to be itself, understand the nature of the child, give Krishna consciousness in a favorable way, then it helps the soul to keep. Still, there'll be layers because we still have baggage, right? Karmic baggage. But at least it will further our journey. That's why the importance is so much on parenting, because the kid is helpless, no? So completely helpless and dependent. But
Yeah, I'm too.
unfortunately, most parents, they project their expectations and they dump their baggage on the children subconsciously, and the kids get messed up. Then
Yeah.
we get covered by all the other ambitions and expectations like that. I mean, this trauma, this what Kapila is saying here, the birth of the trauma, the birth of that pain itself can make him forget. So imagine the trauma, strong, and then all other traumas, right? Abandonment by the mother or something, neglected by the mother or the father, kids growing up single parents, without the support, and The kids feel everything. Babies feel it. The soul feels all that. And then it does get more and more and more covered and burdened. Why? And then you may say, why does Krishna let that happen? Because there are some lessons we need to learn. Nothing happens by chance. Mm, Krishna's kind of, there is always Krishna's hand, as you were saying yesterday also. Nothing happens without the will of the Lord. So the Lord's will is to um, um, make us go through certain experiences in this material body, so that we will um, organically progress towards the perfection of life, towards the progress of life, because of that free will. Krishna gives us that free will, especially after we grow up. When we're small kids, there's not so much the free will. That's why parents come more into picture there, depending on the samskara of the parents, priorities of the parents. Duryodhana, remember, he was a kid when he tried to kill Bhima because of the samskaras that he got.
The more
Some of us
I
are.
listen to
Hmm?
this, yeah, the more I listen to this, I'm realizing, especially what caught my attention most was the word that you said, children are so helpless. Heard that many times. And today, hearing it from you, I'm just feeling like, oh my God, so true. So true, right? Really helpless. You know, what they're going to be exposed to, and then what the parents pass on as high priority for them, right? It makes that kind of impression. Childhood impressions don't go away. And today you were like talking about how this baggage from the past or the childhood, right? Somehow this carries so much, and if some childhood or the you know the a person's childhood is not, sorry, if it's not okay, then what else? Their parent life, I mean, not the parent, adult life is also kind of messed up, right? They need to kind of fix it or get over it, resolve it. Only then they can move forward as an adult, right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking how the material nature. There is one bhajan I'm remembering. It's about Durga Devi, how she's the fort and how she protects. And um, the song, the thing begins like this. ಗರ್ವಿಷ್ಠರಾದ ಅಸುರರೆಂಬ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯನ್ನು ನಾಶಗೈಸುವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಟುವಾದ ಮುಕ್ತರಿಂದಲೂ ಪೂಜಿಸಲ್ಪಡುವ ಪಾದಗಳುಳ್ಳ ಹರಿಯಾಂಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಾದ ದುರ್ಗಾದೇವಿಯು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ರೋಗವಾದ ಕಾಮಕ್ರೋಧಾದಿ ಮೋಹಗಳಿಂದ ದೂರ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಂಗಳ ರೂಪವಾದ ಮೋಕ್ಷವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತಾಳೆ. ಸೊ that's like the beginning of the whole functions of the Devi, of the goddess, of material energy. And in this line, I always liked it like garvishtarada asuraremba, like there is that pride within us, right? Me and mine and all that. So what actually has been put to test is not the devotee in us. It's actually, it's these demons in us, the anarthas in us, that are, immediately the thing starts of drilling those, begins as soon as we are born. And then comes the ಕಾಮಕ್ರೋಧ ಲೋಭಾದಿ ಮೋಹ ಮೋಹಗಳಿಂದ ದೂರ ಮಾಡಿ. So to help us to go away from lust, greed, anger, envy, all these things, certain experiences happen in our life. In some cases, some of our cases, we may have karma that we have more dysfunctional parents than others. Some of us may have very religious parents and very kind and loving parents. It depends on our karma thing, but Krishna is using that, especially for a devotee. He's using that. We may say, why my marriage is not good, why my husband is not perfect. Many people have broken marriages or difficult marriages, etc. And they may wonder, and like I have clients also who wonder why my parents were so bad. And some of my students are still young, they're still processing, and they are very regretful, resentful about the parents. And they wonder, but I can see from their like charts and their nature that they have certain qualities such as pride and anger and entitlement, and there are certain qualities. And then when I see their kinds of parents, etc., in the long term, this karma is supposed to work on them, gradually, to fade off that those things such as kama, krodha, lobha, moha, matsara, and all that, all this lust, greed, anger, envy, and all the entitlement, all these anarthas. Through these difficult experiences of human thing, even there is the covering. That covering is not meant to punish the soul to be away from, I mean, yes, it is said that Maya keeps you away from Krishna, but it's also true that Maya also, she may, initially it may appear that like we're forgetting Krishna, but in this shloka that I recited, in the whole song that comes, it says that it is only a temporarily looks like that, but actually her goal is to push you in such a way that you have no other option than to turn to Krishna. So Maya is trying to make us get fried and frustrated with kama, krodha, lobha. She's wanting to frustrate us from all this lust, greed, and anger, so much so that we are left with no choice. So either way, we will go to Krishna. That's the program of this world. This is the programming of karma and everything. So that's why Giriraj Maharaj also often said, used to say, he says that the lifetime, Krishna's work on the souls is over lifetimes. So he has a plan of how much of anartha this soul can get rid in this life. Because we know, right, from Bhagavatam, we know that to, like you were saying, also in the womb, to be able to remember Krishna and pray, it requires some piety. Doesn't come to anybody. Me, not Tom, Dick, and Harry will not be able to think of Krishna and want Krishna consciousness and not to want to forget Krishna. It doesn't happen to any random soul. Similarly, even for any random soul, Durga Devi has a plan. She's doing the thankless task of shaking off all those qualities and desires and samskaras that have kept this soul away from Krishna, but she will take the person, the soul, to such an extreme direction that when these things all fail, all hell breaks loose, the person has nothing else but Krishna and Krishna's devotees to turn to. So it is all strategic only. It may appear to us that, oh my God, but of course, who would choose the harsh, painful, miserable, torturous path to go to Krishna? What we are all trying here is, with enough intelligence and using the free will in the right direction, we go to Krishna favorably. That's what we are all trying. But Maya is meant to also push us to Krishna only. Yes, she's the fort keeps, but fort is meant for protection. So she's also trying to remove or destroy the negative qualities. She wants to keep us clean so that we become qualified to go to Krishna. So the material pain and suffering that people go through, eventually it is supposed to lead them to Krishna only. So there is nothing as such as hopelessness, absolute hopelessness, unlike Christian philosophy. Christianity, they believe in eternal hell, right? They believe in that. But Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava dharma siddhanta, it's not about that. There is no concept of eternal hell, eternal condemnation. Once you go to hell, you'll be there eternally. No, even hell is temporary. Even hell is in the material world only. There's only one spiritual world, that is Krishna Loka, and like that. I mean, spiritual world means where Krishna is. And to go there, obviously, we need to shake off certain qualities and tendencies of ego and jealousy and pride and whatever it is, subtle and gross anarthas. So it's all planned. It's all planned. This awareness helps me a lot, actually, to understand that everything is ultimately pushing me towards Krishna. Everybody is going towards Krishna, even though they may look hopeless, helpless, useless, whatever you want to call it.
It actually helps us also. It's so positive way of seeing it, right? They're saying like, oh my God, Durga Devi, she'll give everything, be happy in this prison, right? When these people, like the materialists, go to
Mm.
and pray, they want money, they want whatever, she'll give you everything because she wants to keep you here. But the way we devotees, the way you are telling from a devotee's perspective, so beautiful. She's actually terrifying us so that we become fit to go on. So one, this is how I had heard. The way you explain is even more relishable and so sweet.
Yeah. That's a distinction, as you said. For karmis, she may give wealth, right? And usually the greed of the person, he wants more, 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 and more, and more. And then he sees the result of his greed at the end. And then that greed is purified. Even for a karmi, she's still, but it's very painful, long path. It's not recommended, it's not favorable at all. But for a devotee, immediately when we feel disappointment, let's say small Maya, okay? Small Maya is to overeat or something, okay? We want to overeat and then we eat prasad only. But then Maya Devi makes sure that our body immediately reacts, and then we, oh Krishna, I think I should be more careful, how I eat. Or even other small Maya, we want to watch something mundane or something like that. Immediately, Maya Devi will give us the taste of how disgusting these things are, and then we immediately think, why am I even watching this? Why don't I just go and watch some class of my Guru Maharaj or something? Immediately there is that thing. And then what to speak of other things like relational difficulties or disappointments or friendships gone wrong, or all these things are also effects of Maya only, because we were in illusion. Oh, this person will give me shelter. Oh, this person will become my best friend for the rest of my life and will serve me. Oh, these people will remain my loyal fans for life. This is all Maya, right? Yesterday somebody was mentioning in the class yesterday we were discussing, somebody is mentioning there is some mentor who used to force everybody, you have to come to my class, otherwise Krishna will not bless you, and things like that. This is all small mayas for devotees, no, subtly wanting to control Ishvara bhava and all that. But immediately Krishna will give the taste of that maya, because Maya Devi is more favorable for us, for a devotee. I mean, I'll send you that song. It's called Durga Suladi. It's so wonderful to understand the ways the material nature works and how it is different for devotee. If because she's a devotee, Durga Devi is a devotee, and she's protecting the fort of Krishna. She's doing quality control. Not anybody can go to Krishna. She will test you in all sorts of ways. And that whole song shows her role and the duties, and it's amazing. But when we worship her as a devotee and we take shelter of her, then she helps us quickly realize that this path is going to be longer, and then she helps us to quickly get disappointed essentially, and then come to Krishna like that. She's very merciful. In that song it says how merciful she can be to devotees who have devotional goals. But the secret thing is humility here. It's not about me developing greater qualities. It's about that humility to go to Krishna, to go to devotees and say, I am powerless. I can't do anything. As we read, no, in this, what you just read in this previous page, Lord shows me his causeless mercy. Unless the Lord shows me the causeless mercy, I cannot resume my position as his eternal servant. So that is the attitude that we really, really need. See, there is more trauma and misery of the soul as we go further. The child, small baby, cannot communicate the needs, etc., etc. Okay, I'm just looking at the comments now. Rajeshwari Radhika is saying, yeah, Sukadeva Goswami, exactly as Taruni Radha mentioned, right? It's the same. It's the same mood. He was in the same mood. What about C-section? Well, according to Vedic culture, C-section kind of somewhat prevents the soul to experience the like for example, birth chart. My astrology teacher, he will not even read C-section birth charts. He will say there's no point. We can't be precise in the predictions of a C-section because it's forced delivery like that. There is a concept also of children who put this intestine, I don't know, sorry, not intestine, what am I saying? That cord around their neck, and then they could die. So they usually do the C-section so that the baby survives. So there are many concepts of kids who don't want to come out and they do all this kind of things. This could be some pious souls in my experience when I look at their charts. they did realize, and then they don't want to come out and all that. Some kids also die in the womb because that chapter, that lesson is purified like that. Yeah, yeah. When the baby is born, they cry. Finally, it's like a relief, no? Relief of relief, and also relief cry, and also it's the cry of agony. Oh my God! But I think with that cry, it's a representation that we are forgetting what we were just praying in the womb, like that. Mm. Yeah, and we are all smiling, right? When the baby cries, is our first happiness. Oh my God! Finally, the baby cried. Poor baby. Sometimes fears there, that how they survive in this world. Oh, you mean self fear? You mean the child fears how they will survive in the world, or other people worry how the child will survive? Both. I think it's both are true. Okay, if there's no other comments or questions, we can end here today and continue tomorrow the baby's agony. Any small part.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Wish you a very nice Krishna conscious day, everyone.
Thank you.